The morning the richest woman in the city watched her only son push a cleaning cart through the marble lobby of her billion-dollar headquarters. She realized that wealth could buy almost everything except honesty, loyalty, and love. Employees hurried past without noticing. The quiet man in a gray cleaner's uniform wiping fingerprints from the glass doors. Executives ignored him as if he were invisible. Some offered polite smiles, while others looked through him as though he did not exist. None of them knew that beneath the simple uniform stood the true heir to the company, a devoted single father carrying a broken heart, searching for something no fortune had ever been able to give him. Before we continue, if you believe kindness, humility, and second chances can change lives, please take a moment to like this video, comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel. Soulful Tales 2. Your support helps us bring more inspiring stories to life. His name was Adrian Mercer, a 35-year-old widowed father whose quiet strength had been shaped by heartbreak instead of privilege. Years earlier, he had fallen deeply in love with a woman who seemed to adore him for who he was. When she eventually discovered that Adrian belonged to one of the wealthiest families in the country, everything changed. The warmth disappeared, replaced by endless demands, expensive dreams, and public appearances that mattered more than family dinners. The marriage slowly collapsed under the weight of greed. And when tragedy later claimed her life in an accident, Adrian was left raising their 6-year-old daughter, Nora, alone. Although he never spoke badly about his late wife, the painful experience left him questioning every relationship. He no longer believed he could recognize genuine affection. Every introduction arranged by wealthy friends felt artificial. Every smile seemed to carry hidden expectations. His mother, Evelyn Mercer, had spent 40 years building Mercer Global into one of the country's largest real estate and technology empires. Yet she could not convince her son that true love still existed. Watching Adrian become increasingly distant worried her far more than any business challenge ever had. One quiet Sunday afternoon, while Nora happily painted colorful flowers in the garden of the Mercer estate, Adrian confessed something that surprised even his mother. He wanted to disappear from luxury for a while. He wanted to experience ordinary life without expensive suits, private drivers, or executive offices. He believed that if someone could care about him when he appeared to have nothing, then perhaps he could finally trust again. Evelyn listened without interrupting. Instead of rejecting the unusual idea, she smiled gently and gave him complete permission to work anonymously inside the company as a cleaner. Only Evelyn, the company's longtime legal advisor, and the head of security knew the truth. Every other employee believed Adrian was simply a newly hired member of the maintenance staff transferred from another branch. His expensive watches disappeared. Designer clothes were packed away. He exchanged polished shoes for comfortable work boots and learned how to operate cleaning equipment before his first day. The transformation was remarkable. As Adrian polished floors, emptied trash bins, and cleaned conference rooms, he saw a side of the company hidden from executive boardrooms. Receptionists greeted visitors with genuine kindness, while some managers ignored the people keeping the building spotless. Security guards worked double shifts to support their families. Cafeteria workers shared homemade lunches with co-workers who forgot to bring food. The building looked glamorous from outside, but inside lived hundreds of ordinary people carrying invisible struggles. Each afternoon, Adrian finished work early enough to pick Nora up from school. Their routine became the happiest part of his day. Together, they walked through the city park, fed ducks beside the lake, and laughed over melting ice cream under the bright afternoon sun. Nora never cared that her father wore a cleaner's uniform. She proudly hugged him outside the school gates every day, reminding him that unconditional love still existed somewhere in the world. Several weeks later, someone new joined the accounting department. Her name was Clara Bennett, a 31-year-old financial analyst who had recently moved to the city after caring for her aging father until his passing. She rented a modest apartment, traveled by bus, and quietly focused on rebuilding her life. Clara carried sadness in her eyes, but it had made her compassionate rather than bitter. Unlike many employees, Clara noticed everyone. She thanked security guards every morning, smiled at cafeteria staff, and greeted cleaners by name after learning them. Adrian first met her while wiping coffee from a conference table after an executive meeting. Most people walked around him without slowing down. Clara simply handed him extra paper towels after accidentally spilling her cup and sincerely apologized, even though it was barely her fault. That small act stayed with Adrian far longer than he expected. Over the following months, their paths crossed naturally. Sometimes Clara found him organizing supplies before work. Other days, she saw him helping elderly visitors find the correct office, instead of simply pointing down a hallway. She noticed his patience, his calmness, and the way children visiting the building instantly trusted him. Adrian, meanwhile, admired Clara's quiet generosity. She often bought an extra sandwich for the elderly homeless man, sitting across the street during lunch breaks. She stayed late to help overwhelmed co-workers without asking for recognition. When office gossip spread about struggling employees, Clara responded with understanding instead of judgment. Neither of them realized they were slowly healing each other's invisible wounds. One rainy afternoon, Nora waited inside the company lobby because school had closed early. Adrian hurried downstairs after finishing work and found Clara patiently reading a storybook with his daughter while they waited. Nora laughed so freely that the gloomy weather outside seemed to disappear. That evening, Adrian watched Nora excitedly describe Clara all through dinner. She admired how Clara listened instead of pretending to listen. She remembered little details and encouraged Nora to keep drawing because every picture reflected happiness. For the first time since becoming a widower, Adrian imagined what life might feel like if someone genuinely cared for both him and his daughter. Weeks became months. Friendship slowly deepened through shared conversations during lunch, breaks, and occasional walks after work. Adrian never pretended to be someone impressive. He spoke honestly about raising Nora, losing his wife, and trying to become a better father every single day. Clara respected his humility and admired his dedication. She never once asked about his income. She never questioned why he worked as a cleaner. She simply valued the man standing before her. Meanwhile, Evelyn quietly observed everything from a distance. Through security reports and casual observations, she noticed how differently people treated Adrian depending on what they believed his position to be. Some executives barely acknowledged him. Others complained harshly over tiny imperfections. Clara, however, remained exactly the same every day. Then came the annual Mercer Global Charity Gala. Every employee was invited. Clara almost declined because she felt uncomfortable attending glamorous events. Adrian encouraged her to go, promising it would simply celebrate the company's charitable work. Secretly, Evelyn had prepared something much bigger, as hundreds of guests filled the brightly decorated ballroom during the sunny afternoon celebration. Whispers spread across the room when Evelyn stepped onto the stage. Instead of beginning with financial achievements, she spoke about dignity, kindness, and the unseen people whose daily efforts kept the company alive. Then she invited one final guest onto the stage. Adrian walked forward wearing an elegant navy blue suit. Silence filled the ballroom. Employees stared in complete disbelief. The cleaner they had ignored for months was standing beside the billionaire founder herself. Evelyn gently placed a hand on Adrian's shoulder and revealed that he was not only her son but also the future leader of Mercer Global. She explained why he had chosen to live anonymously among the staff. It had never been a game. It had been a search for honesty in a world often distracted by status. Faces around the room changed instantly. Some looked ashamed. Others avoided eye contact completely. A few remembered moments when they had treated him unfairly. Clara stood frozen. Her heart raced, not because Adrian was wealthy, but because she feared he might believe she had only been kind after discovering the truth. Before anyone could misunderstand, Adrian walked directly toward Clara. He thanked her publicly for seeing dignity where others saw only a uniform. He shared how her kindness had restored his faith in humanity long before she knew anything about his background. He admitted that she had, unknowingly, become the answer to a prayer he had stopped believing would ever be answered. The ballroom erupted into applause, but Clara's eyes filled with quiet tears rather than excitement. Wealth had not changed the man she cared about. He was still the same father who hurried to pick up his daughter after work and still the same humble soul who believed every person deserved respect. Months later, their wedding was held not inside a luxury hotel but in a peaceful botanical garden filled with fresh daylight, blooming flowers, and the laughter of family friends and company employees from every department. Cleaners stood beside executives. Security guards celebrated alongside board members. There were no special sections because Adrian insisted everyone deserved equal honor. Nora proudly scattered flower petals down the garden path before hugging Clara with a smile brighter than the afternoon sky. At that moment, Adrian understood that true wealth had never been measured by company shares or bank accounts. It lived inside faithful hearts, willing to love without conditions. Mercer Global also changed forever. Every employee, regardless of position, received greater recognition, improved benefits, and regular appreciation events inspired by Adrian's experience. Respect became more valuable than titles, and kindness became part of the company's culture. Before we reach the end, we'd love to hear from you. Please comment. True love sees the heart, not the uniform. Your words may inspire someone reading the comments today. As the years passed, Adrian often smiled whenever he saw new employees greeting cleaners, receptionists, and maintenance workers with genuine respect. They had learned a lesson that no business school could ever teach. Character is revealed not by how people treat the powerful, but by how they treat those they believe have nothing to offer. If this story touched your heart, reminded you that kindness always matters, or inspired you to see people differently, please like this video, leave a heartfelt comment, share it with your friends and family, and subscribe to Soulful Tales too for more emotional stories that celebrate compassion, hope, and the extraordinary power of ordinary people. Sometimes the greatest love stories begin not with luxury, but with humility, patience, and a heart brave enough to believe again.